and bring about equality for all men, to give every person opportunity to equal jobs, equal housing, and to be able to ride on the bus and sit on the bus any way you want to sit on, to be able to go many places that we couldn't go before, but many of the hotels, we could work in the hotels, but we couldn't go in the hotels in the front, or we couldn't go in the restaurants in the hotels. The restaurants, same thing. So many of these things have been achieved, but we still have a long way to go yet.
I guess I like to. I like to coin or answer the question basically in 2 words, almost. And I think it was all about social and economic justice. And I think those 2 words sort of encompasses the whole thing about what the struggle was about. And we have made progress. And I like to term it progress. But like Dr. Cassimere said, there's a long way to go. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people using the terminology of the street sometimes feel that we have arrived, but however we have not. And in the words of another great leader, Asa Philip Randolph, he always said that the struggle for social and economic justice is never a final act.
Amen.
So in that term, it kind of brings me back to the front. We've made progress, but we got a long ways to go. And remember, I used the term sometime back in, what's that, we talk about Pinchback and these guys. I said, you know, we were supposedly free before. Mm-hmm. And then here come things like Jim Crow. And we saw it again under Reagan, when all the strides that we had made coming up to the Reagan administration, and I think he spent his whole 8 years trying to roll it back. And among those things, he started off with one of the backbones of our community, among other agencies, was labor. But he tried everything he can to turn back the progress that we made in labor. So,
thank you. Yes. Sorry, the traffic control. I'll get that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gray. The objective, as I was sitting here listening to all my colleagues, I would say ditto, and I never forgot an old preacher would say, whatever they say, me too. But let me say, one of the objectives was, and I take it right from the Bible, when Moses went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go. And we still haven't achieved all of our objectives as yet. And as I pass it on to Reverend Skip, I never forgot a march that we had on the governor's mention. Governor Blanco was there. And we were just getting back from Katrina. And the title of our march was, we want our money now. So we still got a long way to go. We've come a long way, 44 presidents of the United States of America. President Barack Hussein Obama, but we still have a long way to go.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. I think that we've accomplished some things, but you know, I was surprised when doing all those years, running about doing all those things, having all the meetings, how we got separated. Blacks are really not together. No, you're not together. You can look like you want to look, but you're not together. I'm here to tell you you're not together. And then in my time, I had 2 enemies. I had the black person who was on this side, tattling to the white man on me all the time, having me arrested on the central lockup. Every time I look up and I turn around and look, and I said, I wonder how you found that out. So, and then I almost passed out near City Hall when that beautiful lady told me, she said, hey, I don't want nobody that looks like me to be mayor. I'm not no, you can't tell me who to vote for. I'm not going in and vote for nobody that got the same color I got. And I've never forgot that. know. But we got a long way to go, sisters and brothers. We got a long way to go. And I shall never forget, I was the chief organizer in labor. I didn't think this gentleman knew that, right here. You don't know that. I notice you keep saying A. Randolph. Well, I live in the house that A. Randolph signed the secretly called Porter's contract at 2719 Marengo Street. I don't know if you knew that. Do you know that? Well, you need to know these things. You see, the blacks today resent someone telling them about something they don't know about in the civil rights movement. They feel that when you tell me that, you think maybe I'm not a civil rights person. But we need to end the Mexicans will climb under that fence and come into the United States, but they come together. They'll see another Mexican, they don't have to know who he is. They'll come right together with him. But blacks, we're so separated, so selfish. We're selfish looking people. Very selfish. We are. Now, I was the international representative for the civil rights movement in Memphis, Tennessee. I didn't get there because I was a great guy. Vic Busey and them ordered me out of Louisiana and drove me out. They said, you can't be here, there's no labor organized with Barney Colbert and all of them. We want you to get out, we're going to send you somewhere. You go there, but you can't be here. So I went to New York and then to Memphis. They sent me to Memphis to take charge of the strike. Which y'all you remember, I used to be passing these calls on the street, organizing them and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, all the things, Medgar was being shot in his back after we came from J-State that night, and all of that. I just wish, this is what I would wish before leaving this earth, that we could come together as a strong body, all of us, you know, and we could come together and when we do any kind of movement, we were together, you know, and that's what I like. I'd like you to be informed. Now, the man on WBOK radio came here from Los Angeles last week, and he went to my home, and he saw the tons of pictures and stuff of Mrs. King and Dr. King and all of that. And he said, I'm not going to let you fall through the crack. I'm going to take you to Los Angeles next week. And we're going to display this in the 56 black newspapers across North America. You understand? So I had all that stuff there. You all could have come seen it if you hadn't been like you all. It's been, and Katrina saw it. Katrina's in half of it. Katrina's in half of it. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't want to hold up what you're doing, but I need, it's hard to fight with people who are against each other. It's very difficult. So the younger black men who are coming after us, make sure that they love each other, be together. You can fight hard. The Klan, you never heard of the Klan fighting each other. Now, our favorite guy in Louisiana, David Duke. You understand? Now, he had to guard to choke Avery Alexander, and Avery Alexander never recovered from that choke that policeman put on him down at that statue down there. Now, Jindal had the statue removed and what have you, but we can't get 10 people to march around City Hall to say, bring the statue back. So some going that way, some going that way, some going that way. We need a unified effort to bring us together, brothers and sisters. You know, I'm sorry if you dislike me for this. I won't be with you anymore. I'm going to try to stay away from you as much as I can. But I'm telling you, that is my resolve. It makes me sad every time something happens. Tend to go that way, and then the man on television with the beard, you know, and then had the group say they're peacekeepers and what have you, and then they had another group. You see, you know, it's really when I saw that man lay stretch out on that porch and that blood came down, and all of us standing in that yard being stopped by the FBI. I mean, you just can't forget things like that. You see, this is not a plaything. And before, I would like to show, make sure all of you see pictures you never saw before. Things you never saw before, I have.
What's the address, Ray?
I live in the ghetto. 2719 Orange.
Okay, so right.
Yeah, but You know, so I'll say as much as I can say tonight, but I don't want to say too much more. But we got, you can't fight anybody, you can't elect anybody separated like that, you can't, you know. And then you say about the president, when I went up there, I enjoyed all the festivities, but the guy told me, say, it's wonderful, isn't it? I said, no, it's not wonderful, because that Spanish lady he put on the Supreme Court, there was a person here in Louisiana named Burdette Johnson who could have sat on that Supreme Court. You understand what I'm saying? Because we black, you see, we can't say anything that against another black that's helpful. And he could have done that. And then, and you ladies, when a black man or any kind of man say a woman has done something great, whether you like her or not, don't you knock it. Beyonce did put their lights out at that Superdome.
Thank you so much, Reverend Alexander. It's always a pleasure. Okay. Our next question. And this time I'm probably going to start with I'm going to go ahead and start. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start really with, I'll start back on the side, Mr. Cassimere, Dr. Cassimere. What should young people know about the struggle for civil rights?
What should young people know about the struggle for civil rights? That there were a lot of young people who were involved. Actually, you may not believe it, I was young. When we got started. You can do a lot with a few. There were not very many of us. There were not very many of us. A lot of people have since invented civil rights practice, but they were not involved. You can get started with very few people. This is almost a shrine. This church, the pastor's father used to make our signs. That's one of the things you should know. When we got started with the boycott against 40 souls on Canal Street that lasted for over 2 years, we were foolish to do that, but we won actually. We had 11 members, I think we had 6,000 in the treasury. So we took on this fight. Reverend Ray was there, he wasn't looking for a job. My wife was there, she wasn't looking for a job. Reverend Ray's sisters and brothers were involved. They weren't looking for a job, we were looking for jobs for other people. And it was only a handful of people when we started, but we picked up steam, people came and they got involved. Some of them didn't stay very long. But we won because we had the confidence that what we were doing was right. So that's one thing young people need to know. The other thing is that we controlled our own movement. There were a lot of people who came in and tried after we got started and wanted to call the shots. I was listening to Reverend Alexander talk about the black president we had. The problem is we joined his team. We didn't say independent so that we could be an independent voice. When you join somebody else's team and he's a captain, he's going to call the shots. If we had stayed as an honest broker, then maybe we could, in fact, feel comfortable in criticizing. But that's not new. We did criticize white mayors. We picketed, Warren and I reminisce about the time we got arrested almost 50 years ago. We were picketing the black ball. We took on blacks, we took on whites. So that's one thing young people know. You don't have to have a lot. You have to be true to your cause and just get started.
Black people, I mean, our young people really need to know about the civil rights struggle. They really need to know about the contribution that's made by many people. It's so unfortunate, even entertainment, singing, whatever. You know, you're not recognized in your own hometown. You have to go someplace else to be recognized, and then when you come back, then maybe you know, somebody will recognize you. We take people for granted. You know, for 40 years, I've gone into schools throughout this state, 40 years, speaking to young people. I've spoken at many churches about civil rights, and many people are concerned about, you know, my struggle. And, but, you know, I had to go to New York to be recognized. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame in New York City. I had a full-size bus in the museum in New York. But, you know, here, you know, I'm not recognized here. Normally I don't say much about myself, but I've come to the conclusion that, you know, so many people know me, but so many people don't have a clue that I made history. So those are kind of things, and then not myself only, many other blacks have made contributions and done things in the city, in the state, and nobody know about Dr. Bullock. I've known him for years. There's so much I didn't know about Dr. Bullock until after he passed. And the same thing with so many others. We don't know anything about him until at the funeral you hear all these great things, or you read about all these great things that they've done, but you don't know about it in the beginning. Now, Reverend Skip Louisiana and myself dedicated a television show to Dr. Bullock about a month before he passed. But if we knew about, you know, things that, contributions that many of our black people have made, then we could give them some flowers, or we could do something for them, or let them know that they appreciate why they're here. Dr. Bullock is here, and that's what we should say now. Dr. Bullock can't read it, and then that's, you know, that's been written about him. And I just mentioned him because this is recent, where there's so many other black that have made great contribution to this city and to this state, and nobody knows about it.
Well, some of the things I would like for them to know is to go back to the theme I started with. Well, first I'd like to expose them some kind of way to the kind of presentation that Brother Levin, and I think that would kind of give them a good perspective on what happened in the past. But I really want them to focus now on what needs to be done now as we move forward. Skip mentioned work that he did in labor, and that's an area. Labor played a tremendous role in the civil rights movement. And one of the reasons why was because labor had that network of these foot soldiers that went clear across the United States. And I speak mostly about the AFL-CIO. There were other unions, but that's the one I know about. Yeah, and in those groups you had people like CWA, American Federation of Teachers, SEIU, all those people that are part of the AFL-CIO. And I'm noticing that, you know, unions are sort of disappearing. And I said, two of the best things that ever happened to black people was civil service and unions. Right here in the city of New Orleans years ago, the first folks who became policemen, if it were not for civil service, they would have a difficult time breaking that barrier, because prior to civil service, they had what they used to call the spoiler system. Okay? And that's when you got a note from your ward leader, and you'd go to police headquarters, and your ward leader say, hi. And they give you a pistol and a badge, and, well, we had nobody to send us up there. But with the advent of civil service, there was a law there that two guys, one named Carlton Piku and the other John Raphael, they used that vehicle to file suit. But how could you file suit against a spoiler system? That doesn't to file against. So I said that to say this. I got too many young people, as soon as they reach a certain black salary level, they don't need unions. You know, they get to be more conservative than the conservatives. Right. There was an effort not only to get rid of the teachers' union because of the education component. That was one part. But the teachers' union was one of the largest political groups across the state of Louisiana, because we got locals in other cities. Right. And I've seen, I don't know if you have, but but I've seen the negative effect of the absence of the United Teachers of New Orleans.
Yes, indeed.
Now, and those are the kind of things that we need to educate our young people again about the value of things like labor and labor unions.
Thank you. Thank you.
What you got?
Well, I think our young people need to know, number one, is that we love them. Number two, is that we tired of their foolishness.
Okay. All right.
And we should take our community back. Now, you know, I sit up here with these gentlemen, and a lot of times, when we sit with history, we don't know we're sitting with history. I've met so many people, Ms. Roosevelt, and the list go on and on. Our young people need to know that Dr. King was not no old man. He was a young man when he started the movement, 24, 25, 26, young man in this movement. They need to know a young man named Emmett Till, the whole civil rights, the recent modern civil rights model age started off. That young man died in Mississippi. He was brutally beaten. His mother said, I don't want to leave his casket open. I want to see how they brutalized my son. And we need to know these things. We need to know that that we have come a long way with our young children. It's time for us to mentor to our young children. I heard Brother Levin mention that as he looked around, he said, well, nobody answered their name. I think most of the people here, we all about senior citizens now. And it's time that we let our children see where we've been, how we can recapture them. We shouldn't leave it to somebody else to tell our children our history. And to say history, Carter G. Woodson started in 1976, I think, 76. It gave us a whole history month to celebrate African history. Recently now on television, they got John McDonald on television showing it's the worst school in the nation, showing that our school here in New Orleans is out of control. The council lady Samson with it, Lloyd, I want to say, after coming back from the storm, Southern Christian Leadership Conference went into John Knight School. We helped to buy uniforms for children who couldn't get there. We went into various classrooms to talk to the children. I'll never forget, when we went into one class, I think about 8:30, a young man told us, look, y'all got 5 minutes to talk to us, y'all out of here. It was playing dice, cards, looking at BET on television, and the school was in a round. And he said that so much that I can never forget Mrs. Mary Woodard. Miss Mary Woodard, this young man looked like he's 6 foot something. And he's ready to put all of us out of the room. And Miss Mary Woodard went over to him and said, look, son, you're going to sit down and listen. And he came up to her and she said, go ahead, you want to hit me? Hit me. I said, look at this woman. I realized that she raised 12 children, and he backed down. I realized that she was a school teacher, and he backed down. And we had a chance then to go to the principal. Now, this one didn't happen. Now that in current time, you look at the television and see a shortage school. Somebody in my community where Dr. Ray and I went to James Weldon Johnson School. I had one of the preachers call me and say, Reverend, they're talking about closing James Weldon Johnson School down. Check it out. I go there to meet the principal. The principal there is the gentleman, Mr. Jackson, who formerly was over at John Mack. He said, they moved me, Reverend, from this school. And I said, why? He said, yeah. He said, they're getting ready to take over James Weldon Johnson School for another school. We have been lackadaisical on this whole school situation here in New Orleans. That is what the truth. United Teacher Wallace should be fighting that fight by himself. So our children, all of us, I hear my late father say, make yourself a committee of one. So all of us need to make ourselves a committee of one and reach some young people, because as Reverend Skipper always said, we get ready to leave here, you all. And our young people need to know who we are, where we come from, and where we hope to go. Many of us see President Barack Obama and think, well, we got it made. Many of the children, as Representative mentioned also, don't know nothing about sitting on the back of the bus. They haven't had the experience that we have. And if they think everything is okie-dokie, you know, I can look around this audience and everybody like myself can remember being raised in our community. I had aspiration of being everything, because I saw all of them. I didn't realize I was poor because my little belly was full. You know, but I had aspiration of being everything. We lost something in the transition.
Now, you could be mad with me like this because I was mad myself. I had a wife and children to support. You understand? I said, now, I went up there, I made my way up to the office, I said, I'd like to be the chief engineer of this building. So he said, no, we got that already paved out. And we'll talk to you about that. Now, who could I go to get to be that? And the blacks look at you like this when you say that. They don't know what's schooling out here. They don't know where I went around the world. So I'm right in this room. I want you to go home and take a picture. You saw a black man who stood on the Great Wall of China. You understand me? And a black man who went over to India and saw the doctor on a little rug and what have you. And he's the one that we follow his movement. You understand? And blacks got to get bigger in thinking. You got to get bigger. You know, you think small. Somebody come in and tell you, I have a beautiful surprise picture that's worth $1 million. And oh man, go ahead, come on now. You didn't have. I lost the friendship of a beautiful judge and a beautiful lawyer friend. Because I said, I took a picture at Dr. Kate's funeral, and they said, now you know you lied. Now you didn't do that. I saw that in evidence, somebody else did that. Stop killing each other. You understand? So what? All the great things, all these people have done, all y'all have done great things. And y'all at least believe in each other. Y'all didn't believe in each other. Now, he told you about now, Medgar that was a tragedy for all of us because he came home from the meeting and he opened the trunk of his car and the Klansmen was sitting right out there in the woods with a gun that could kill an elephant with. And we need to look into things like that. Now, Dr. Levan just told you what happened in Mississippi. He just declared that that we no longer slaves in Mississippi anymore. So you might be careful when you go outside. A million people might be running away from Mississippi and run over. If you're running this way. But see the people in here tonight? Y'all talking about young people. Look at the age of you all in tonight. Look at you. You're not no teenagers. They don't have to carry their own way too now. They're smart, they're walking with these iPads and what have you, and all of that, they're smart. Now, Dr. Willard's son's wife caused us to not have a daughter. She was a C student, and we went to Baton Rouge with her. And when we came back, she was under her tutelage. Now you can help them if you just give them some time. And now she's the top student. They trying to send to Spelman College and McBain School. She's the tops. I mean, I'm talking about really the tops. Not because she related to me. I mean, when I went over there and people told me, say, man, you got something here. You understand what I'm saying? And she was at Benjamin Franklin School, and she got hold of her. That teacher in the Willard family got hold of her. And I didn't tell her nothing, I didn't say nothing, she looked in line, and she was top student. Heading to Spelman College. You understand? And I want to personally tell you, Doctor, I took those pictures of your family, I don't want to bring that up and whatever, but you have my deepest sympathy on that activity.
All right, but I'm going to call you. I'm going to come up to 1800 Marengo Street.
Well, you're welcome to the ghetto. Now, here's what's happening. Now, this is for you all. I'm telling you this. I'm going to give you all this. You will never see the ghetto again. What's happening now in New Orleans? When you fly back to New Orleans, it's going to be community. That's right. And all of them, you sand shrubs and ice and trees and all of that. Come down Playboy where they put that new restaurant, Washington and Claiborne. Oh, yeah. Well, all that's going to be just like Metairie Road. I mean, out on the Veterans Highway, you have all the big stores. They are taking the city back. You understand? So when you come out, there won't be any ghetto. There won't be nothing falling down. Everything is going to be up. And Moses Garden right now is building a $12 million edifice right there on General Taylor in Cloud. $12 $12 million. It's going up, it's so beautiful, and other ministers are doing that. So say goodbye to the ghetto, and don't complain about anything. Now, and when you miss church on Sunday, tell them that Skip said told you this. Pass by the church with an envelope and say, well, I missed church, but I won't miss my 10%. And put it in that, put it in that little envelope, and put it in the church mailbox. Do that. You understand? Church, when that beautiful lady at Sewage and Water will raise the church water, and when that's the company raise the sewage, and when the lecture's raised, and the church don't have a dime to pay for it, then what you think will happen? So don't close the church which says, black people, the church has been for you when no one else is for you. The black church. It didn't say what kind, it was the black church. And then I want to tell you, Senator, that y'all invited me over there where the Baptist choir and all that was over there, and Baptist preacher. You must have got in there some kind of way. So y'all talked the priest that time. So I want to tell you, black folk, especially the seniors, you can now vote from your table. Like you man, you don't have to go down to the polls anymore. You get the application and have your daughter or somebody else, you can put it right in the mail. Vote from your table. But you need to vote. All you need to vote. You didn't come here to hear me say that, but you need to vote. So,
every election is important.
You need to vote.
That's right. Thank you, Reverend Skip Alexander. The historian, you gotta love him. I absolutely love hearing him speak. I really do need to come over to Marengo myself and get some of that knowledge.
This is your first time in the ghetto?
I came down that way before now. Yeah,
well, you're welcome to come to the ghetto.
So at this time, let's give our panelists a round of applause. And at this time, I'm going to ask if anyone from the audience has a question for our panelists.
Yes.
Reverend Alexander, I think it was you who mentioned the fact that Claiborne and
Washington.
Claiborne and Washington, Martin Luther King bus area.
Yeah.
That they're coming with
Taco Bell.
mega stores per se. They just put up around steel structures in that area. Since you seem to be knowledgeable.
All the money up there.
Okay, exactly what is that?
Well, they got a new Taco Bell there, and then they take the street and they bring Claiborne Avenue in, and they put him. You've been to Los Angeles?
No, I haven't.
You know those big old trees they have in Los Angeles, big old palm trees? Well, they're putting them up, and you're going to be able to do one thing that black people never thought they could see. You may not own a Mercedes-Benz, but you're going to see it from Claiborne Avenue. You're going, when you drive, you're going to see the whole Mercedes-Benz. That Superdome.
It was newly structured. It was newly structured on the other end of that landing.
Jackson and Claiborne.
Exactly what is that?
I think I went to a meeting over at Second Zion Baptist Church, former Dr. McGarry. That was been a couple of years ago. The city got to come and confess to us what is actually going on by the bus of Dr. King.
You saw that wrong thing.
They are extending from Dr. King bus all the way to Jackson, that round dome you see.
You don't pay Dr. King statue no more.
It's, you say that right, Reverend. They're getting ready to honor other civil rights workers on there. So the whole strip will be supposed to be lighted up with civil rights workers, but they haven't come to the civil rights community and told us nothing about it in maybe the last 3 or 4 years. But we can see the development going up. And just recently, I asked somebody in the present administration, let us know what's going on.
When you wake up, you'll be on Veterans Highway.
That's what's happening. Extending the civil rights walkway.
This is for dating people. I don't want to be on it yet.
Yeah, that's what it is. Veterans Highway. But so Dr. King's statue that's there, they should have met with us to let us know that thing, that round thing that they got up there, that's people can't see the statue from that side. you see, and all of that they're doing, and you go, and they're coming right on down, like to Jefferson Davis Park, to Jefferson Avenue. From there, right on down will be a common way, and people will be able to drive down Claiborne Avenue at breakneck speed. There won't be, it'll be just like on the Veterans Highway, right on down. And there won't be any black businesses on Claiborne, from that place where the Claiborne overpass to Jefferson. You'll have to be some kind of millionaire to have a black business in that. There won't be any. And they put them in there one at a time. They used to have a hotel called Mason Hotel. That's gone. All that's gone. All that's gone. And so now we're ready for the expressway. I-10 to be torn down. So we want that torn down. So that's going where black people used to enjoy themselves down there in the Claiborne Avenue area, all down to all the way down leisure fields and what have you. Many of you are too young to have enjoyed that activity down by Orleans Avenue, all the way down when blacks used to enjoy themselves and had their children and picnics and all that. They didn't have to go to the segregated Audubon Park. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that at that time. But let me tell you about the white folks teasing the animals. They love animals. And they was teasing the animals up at Audubon Park. And one of those gorillas got out. Yeah. And we was all standing around, and he didn't mess with us because he knew we was gorillas too. He chased those white people down Magazine Street to no end. And so we all know our own, don't we?
I just wanted to.
Real quick,
Yeah, real quick. You still have questions? You still have questions?
No, just, yeah.
No, I just want to say that I concentrated my remarks on labor because
The labor man.
yeah, well, in conjunction, that was what the directed for me to by the panel. But I just wanted to let you know I've been here as long, I'm one of the few people that's been around as long as, or longer than Skip.
Are you 9 years old too?
But so in the question and answer, I'd like to know you could expand your question to other than what I was talking to, because I wore a number of hats I didn't mention. Cynthia knows me from a young girl. I spent 40 years in law enforcement. 40 years in education at all levels from elementary to university.
Wonderful.
And I spent 20 years in law enforcement, which covered New Orleans, the federal government, the Louisiana State Police, Shreveport, Baton Rouge. I say that to say because I have a lot of experience in all those areas, and sometimes people have questions related to those kind of things. So if you feel that you, in those areas, the things that happened in the past, that feel free to ask questions about those kind of things. Because I have.
We should have asked him, since he was in the police department, about PANELIST.
Yeah.
Well, one of the good things about this is just something that we,
and the other thing was, historically, you mentioned that Ruby Bridges and Prevost. I think I'm the last living black policeman who provided the security for those young people when they were entering the school. We had to patrol their houses 24 hours. And one thing we gave credit to Joe Russo. He may have said that whole security detail were black police officers.
Whipping us with clubs.
Were black police.
Yeah.
I got to feel that you would have felt more comfortable knowing that you had black policemen protecting you.
Thank you, gentlemen. One of the things that I would have to say about this whole thing is we never get tired of hearing this good information. We never get tired of it. And one of the things that I can definitely say from the previous time is that we've grown. There's more people here. And so this is something that, as we stated before, it's an educational series. So it's not about the style. So I would, I would ask that, as stated by, Reverend Skip, that the next time when you're hearing that we're having this education series, which is going to come soon, that you come out, but when you come out, make certain that you have our young people with you. And with that, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time and all of the wisdom that you've given us. And the wisdom of our students.
Delgado College tomorrow at 9 a.m. I've come a long way now, so they're having me at the Delgado College. It's a little college. That's not something grammar or big. So wish me to get up to the big college.
We're going to get ready to close up.
Are we going to a repass? Because I've already had coffee.
We're going to bring up the Honorable Cynthia Willa Lewis. Let's bring her up with a round of applause.
I want to thank and praise the Lord for His mercy and for His grace. For the inspiring and encouraging moment that we are experiencing this evening. I'm so proud to represent my beloved mother, who would be here, as you know. If there was something for the NAACP, or SCLC, or civil rights, Mama was right there next to Dad, who was right there on the first line waiting to get the microphone. But Dad is in heaven, and Mama is visiting her grandchildren in Houston. So we're thankful for them, but I had to come and express the profound gratitude of our entire family, of Judge Ben Willard, who is doing as my father would admonish him to do. He is at a St. Aug basketball game with his 2 Purple Knights sons. So he is being a father, which is his first responsibility, before he would join and come here as a son to thank each and every one of you, as I am the representative of the family now, to express our profound gratitude and heartfelt thanks and abiding love for each of you, for all of the kindness, the warm expressions, and the great deeds of generosity and love that you shared with our family and continue to share with our family during this time of loss and suffering. Many of you know the footprints, the footsteps that I'm walking in. And you have personally poured your own recipe for overcoming grief into my life. And I thank you for that. Many of you have given me unique episodes of Daddy's impact on your life. And I thank you for that. Because what I have learned in this journey in my life is that it is the journey of gratitude that keeps us going far. So I'm so grateful that God blessed me with such a wonderful, unique, and inspiring dad who had a heart of love and unselfish giving. And I am so grateful that he worked with such outstanding organizations, civil rights organizations, that worked unselfishly for the good of humanity, for creating opportunities, and that is what our panelists all spoke to. Opportunities for this generation and the next generation, for all of our citizens, that you loved him and that you showed your care and concern for him. By the expression of gratitude from the SCLC Martin Luther King Commission, thank you all for always honoring my father, and in particular, where he served on the executive board of directors of the NAACP, a long-standing member, that you have honored him by dedicating this to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 2013 series in his honor. And I know he is honored because the discussion has been dynamic, stimulating, and encouraging, and it continues to grow. As you said, in January, there were some. But this year in February, Black History Month, there are more. And I'm sure in March, when we celebrate Women's Month, there will be even more. And glory, in our April, where we all go into resurrection, there will be even more. So let us continue the movement, because as our ministers and inspiring speakers all said, there is so much work to do. There is an entire generation that must be captured and molded and shaped and told they are loved and shown the way. But in these difficult times, we all must ask questions. Why are schools' names being changed? Why is Booker T. Washington being destroyed when we need places for employment and for training? Why, when we in a nation talk about more voting opportunities, in Louisiana we're cutting 1 hour back? Why? Why is UTNO still struggling and not having got the settlement that the federal government gave to the state of Louisiana to pay our teachers for the time that they were fired and lost? Why is that still going on? Why is the school board out of balance? Why is the council out of balance? Why is all of these offices, well, once we had an impact and a role, why are they not changed? I think the question was asked, why is there such a division in the Black community? When we need to be united and we need to embrace one another in love, why are we so critical? Why are we reflecting self-hatred? Why are our children killing themselves? These are serious, pressing questions for this agenda of leaders, and everyone is a leader, to answer. Dr. King answered the questions of his time. W. Du Bois and the Niagara Movement answered the questions of their time. It is up to us to answer the questions of our time, of our community. And if not us, then who? Who will you blame? We can blame no one but ourselves. I thank the NAACP for this very stimulating and stirring movement that shared history, but now it's up to us to make new history for this city of New Orleans. The state of Louisiana went through Reconstruction once, and now the city of New Orleans is going through Reconstruction post-Katrina. Where are the opportunities? Where are the jobs? Where are the businesses? Where's the leadership? We have to ask those questions. And you're correct. It's social justice and economic justice. And where is the check mark on the ledger to make sure that there is progress for everyone? Oh, the city hosted the Super Bowl, but I don't know how many of you all were able to go. How many of us had vendor opportunities? How many of us sold goods? Ebony Essence is, the Essence Festival is coming, but again, the question has to be, if it's a party with a purpose, who's got the purpose that goes to the bank, and who's got the party outfit that ain't that important? These are the kinds of issues that hopefully the series will continue to address, and hopefully we will get some resolution and some forward movement, because if we do not challenge and raise these issues again, we will simply continue to ask them, continue to fall backwards, and the only thing that will be going on is a bigger jail down at Tulane and Broad. God bless you all. Thank you for honoring our father, and thank you for having me this evening. The documentary, the historical documentary, should be shared with all of our children. And, of course, this dynamic set of speakers who told the truth, who candidly told the truth, needs to also be shared with not only the children, many of us. So I'm so glad to be here tonight. God bless you. Continue to pray for family.
There'll be a slip being passed around to see all people that I told you about. So it's gonna, so I'm the representative on one slip, so I'll have it on my radio and television show. Too big for radio. I have to be on TV too.
We want to thank everybody, and we have a little song that we like to sing, and we're going to be very brief. And after the song, we're going to hear from Reverend Ray, who's going to close us out, followed by Reverend Marcelle. You know the song, it was sung during civil rights. And I just need to say before we go any further, that this is the Dr. Martin Luther King Education Series. It's not the SCLC, it's not the NAACP. We respect those organizations, but this is something different. And I just want to be clear on that point. Now join with me in singing, "We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. When we build a Dr. Willard's High School, when we build a Dr. Willard High School, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. That's right.
Amen. We can remain standing because I'm not going to talk long. I just want to thank the land for coming and the entire panel participated in the discussion tonight and wonderful presentation. And we'll thank all of you for coming out. And after the benediction, Marcelle is going to give, would you join us in the fellowship hall? We have some refreshments over there. And I was talking to Brother Reshore a moment ago, and he was telling me that his daughter had a light stroke the other day, and he's not himself tonight, and he asked me to be in prayer for his daughter, Marcelle. I think her daughter's name is Alicia? Alice. Okay, Alice. So you can pray for her and you'll close in prayer.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this opportunity to have come tonight. We're thankful Mr. LeGrand who put on this program. We're thankful for all the information that has been someone ill tonight. And we thank God, we pray that each and every one of us will benefit from this, and we pray that, oh God, that this will draw us closer as a people, to give us more love in our heart for one another, and help us, oh God, that we might be able to go out and spread the good news, that we may be able to encourage others about the civil rights struggle and about the importance of it. And we pray that you will continue to direct us, oh God, and as we depart from this place, we pray, oh God, that you will go with each and every one of us, protect us, protect our home, protect our families, our loved ones. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. And I thank you for giving me the strength tonight, oh God, to be here. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Thank God. Amen. Amen. You feel a lot better.
Shake somebody's hand.